Welcome. Here, we're going to cover curriculum step number 5, which is establishing program goal emphasis. In other words, you're going to take a close look at the goals that you developed, and you're going to try to come to a realistic expectation as to how important each goal is and how much emphasis or time each goal should receive within your program. Now remember, your goals are those final overall expectations that you have for the students or the athletes in your program. These are the things that you want them to be able to know and do once they have completed your program. And so this means there should be sufficient time spent throughout the program addressing each one of those goals. So how much attention should each goal receive? This is what you're attempting to identify in this step. Each group member should independently first rate how much emphasis or time they think each goal should receive throughout the program. And this is that consensus building technique that you previously did before. The first thing that you want to do is create a chart. And on that chart, you're going to list your ranked goal statements along the left side. Be sure to write out your goal statements completely. Within your chart, if you want to minimize the font size so your complete goal statements can fit properly and make it look a little better organized, that's fine. It's not APA, but for this assignment, I'll accept it. You'll also want to include the grade levels or skill levels that you plan to use and address. If you're developing a physical education program, remember to address all the grade levels within your entire program. If it's elementary school, that's K through 6 or K through 5. If it's middle school, 7 through 8 or 6 through 8, high school, of course, is 9 through 12. Now, if you are developing a collegiate level program or a sports focused program, create skill level or performance levels for your athletes. And this you may identify as skill level number 1, which is a beginning or a beginner skill level. Number 2 is the intermediate level. 3 is the advanced. And 4 is the elite. So something like this would be a good example of performance or skill-based levels for your athletes. Now, for each grade or skill level that you do have, remember that the goals should be balanced and addressed throughout the entire program. So your goals and expectations are clearly addressed. Another suggestion, and this is not mandatory, is to organize your goals by domain. So instead of having the goals listed in the rank order, you can separate them and group them by each domain. So you may have all the groups of your psychomotor goals, all the groups of your cognitive goals, and the affective domain goals all grouped together separately. And this is helpful in ensuring that you have identified the goals for all the domains and that all the domains are going to be effectively and balanced, addressed appropriately throughout the entire program. And once you have your chart developed, have each curricular team member provide their suggested time in percentage form that each goal should receive at each grade level or performance level. And after the consensus building technique is completed, all group members have provided their goal and emphasis percentages. You want to average out the final percentages to help develop a completed goal emphasis chart. And when you do this, the text suggests doing this in percentage increments of 2 or 5%. And I also suggest you do that. It just simplifies the process of calculating and averaging those out. Be sure that your percentages within each grade or skill level equals 100% at the bottom so they're completely covered. And typically, prior to completing this step, most programs address goals sporadically and will usually spend more time on certain goals than others, neglect some. And when this happens, the students or the athletes are not exposed to all the program expectations and the final outcomes are not all met or not met sufficiently. So if your goals are important to you, which by this point you should identify that they are, you must make some time to address each one effectively and make sure that each student or athlete is appropriately exposed to all the instructional information that you want them to receive within that goal. And this is also important when you reach the program evaluation point. You'll need to reflect on how much time you actually spent on certain goals in order to revise and hopefully improve your program. And once you're done, you should have a well-organized, visually appealing chart that encompasses all group member suggestions on the emphasis each goal should receive within that program. Now, that should be it for this step. If you have any questions, as usual, please feel free to contact me or feel free to post your questions in the Q&A form. Other than that, we'll see you online.